Facebook and Instagram. This is Oya Myra with RVPP Solutions, and this is Conversation Starters. We are back again with Conversation Starters. Just saying hi to Facebook again. Once again, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Oya Myra. I am RVPP Solutions, holistic health advocacy firm, where we focus on 360 wellness. We focus one on getting yourself into a good state of wellness via yoga, meditation, fitness plans. And then secondary, we get into a space of understanding pro se advocacy, utilizing our legal education to empower other people. All right. So how y'all doing today? This segment of RVPP Solutions is focused on conversation starters. I have noticed within a lot of Western society, we have a space of not going to things we consider to be taboo or even things that we never thought about, right? So I was going to start this conversation starters off about the policing and Christianity of black women, um, boy moms, and the internalized misogyny that hurts women and girls, um, weed and the spiritual meaning and the practice of it, and the power move to enslave intelligent black women, specifically in the geographical area of Chicago. But I thought all of that was very heavy. So I think I'll start for that next week. Right now, what I want to do is have a fun conversation. So tell me any of those topics that I just went about. If you want to engage in conversation and you want to give your opinion about those things and, make commentary about them, let me know. But for this conversation starters, we're going to focus on the sacredhood of self identification, owning your identity, and standing proudly in your self identification. And what do I mean about self identification? Self identification is taking about your liberalism and your, uh, what's the word, Myra? Ownership of your autonomy, your body, your self-ruling authority, your self-determination. Um, Standing proud in the identity that you create, and also holding those who are accountable, holding others accountable who may want to demonize you coming into a space of uniqueness because it doesn't reproduce in what they believe to be culturally applicable to you, right? And when I say into the self identification, it's not allowing the projections of others to be your reality, right? Like me, I start practicing minimalism and not engaging in buying certain items anymore because of what we consider to be fast fashion, right? So fast fashion was creating damage, is still, but we're working on it, to the spaces within our global community. And I think that came out of me after my military service because when I went to Cambodia and I saw the massive amount of trash and things polluting this beautiful land, right? Like it's a beautiful land, but it's full of toxins of what many in the global community push their trash into, right? That's why I got into what are more sustainable practices for us to, take into place. And when I came to Chicago and things that harm me as a child, looking at my environment being filled with plastic bags and potato chip bags and glass on the street and just people throwing their food on outside the car into the floor, and us continuously saying that your environment is a representation of you, and I love myself, so I don't see myself as trash. So seeing that really sparked something to me as I was going into my 30s and moving to a space to understand climate change and environmental justice, also while trying to connect the dots of how we look at our idea of justice in this world and who can be considered to have safety. And all of these times I was going to these spaces, everybody, even family and friends, were trying to project, oh, that's not what black women do. That's not your identity. You are a child, a person who was raised and born into a system of a social programming, which we know as the projects, because that's exactly what it was, a social experimentation by those in spaces who had a hatred for highly melanated people. So because I constantly debuke and dismiss and dismantle the ideology of what it means to be a highly melanated woman, especially having a spiritual awakening, understanding that I am a goddess in human form, that does not mean that, I am untouchable, but it does mean that I have a certain spiritual protection upon me because I know who I am now. And I just want to encourage others to engage in being more explorative and providing safe spaces for other people who are walking in their uniqueness, taking on the responsibility of when you feel jealousy and envy, and understanding when that person is living in the space of happiness, that it is not your job to administrate any type of karma, which you are really just masking as your jealousy and envy, right? And those who are watching me now understand, they know, I don't like to go through trauma loops, but on a subconscious level, in a conscious level, those people who for some reason are afraid to create identity outside of the scope of trauma will come to push down upon you to put you in an ideology and where you will be in a fake relationship with them. And I'm not just talking about romantically. I'm talking about familiar with friends, and that's why it is becoming very difficult as we are progressing in our aging, and it's not as enjoyable as it should be for many of us, is because many of us are trying to police the other people into being in spaces when we experience extreme trauma as children. There is a move to legitimize the trauma of other people. Hi, beautiful. There is a move to legitimize the trauma and the pain and the prejudice and the discriminatory behavior that has happened towards highly melanated people in order for the other people to like justify themselves and their emotions that they are not able to deal with. So that's what I'm talking about, owning your self-identification. Because when you move in independence, when you move in self-rule authority, when you move in self-determination, especially as a highly melanated woman in America, although there has been so many advancements on like a materialistic type of way for us and us getting these credentials, there is not enough conversation about the safety that we need to. Hey, I always love learning from you. Thank you, beautiful. I love engaging with you as well. This is one of my former peers when I was in law school who taught me a lot about engagement with feminine energy as we transpire between each other. So learning about our self-identification, and at 34 years old, I still have to deal with the policing of my elders and telling me what's right and what's wrong. And not saying that they are totally wrong, because they're not, but we have to understand a lot of the mechanisms of safety that they created from us has been from extreme trauma. So what happens when that extreme trauma does not exist anymore? Are you moving in the space of being comfortable that we are safe, or are you creating scenarios and timelines of extreme trauma because that is what you're used to and what you're comfortable with and what you know how to navigate through? And that's someone who moves fiercely in her femininity, who moves fiercely in her self-identification without having to have it at the expense of another person, right? My identification is not how do I put this? It's not measured by looking at someone else and saying, okay, well, this is the right way and this is the wrong way. Because I'm too grown for that shit. I understand how that can orchestrate in your brain and how we're socializing that way when we were children. But there comes a time as a human, you have to have some type of social responsibility and you have to evolve from that. So if you keep looking at another person for what's right and what's wrong, you never really get to find yourself. And that's what this human experience is about, finding yourself, finding enjoyment in yourself. And I don't think comparison is a thief of joy, because there's been many times where I've been in spaces and I compare myself to someone because I wanted to be in that space where that person was at. So I watched their moves. I watched how they did it to learn success. There was a YouTube video I just watched. There was this guy who lived in Brooklyn, and he's coming from Brooklyn, and I think he's Ghanaian, and he moved to Ghana, right? And they was like, how did you become Ghana? How did you become? I said he became Ghanaian, but he moved to Ghana. How did you become so successful? And he said, because I studied success, right? When you study success, it's okay, right? I think that American ideology and not American upbringing and socialization teaches us not to be collaborative with each other in our identity, right? Like, you can stand in your uniqueness, and it does not mean that you're at war with another person. And that's what I'm trying to eradicate out of my mind, out of my relationships, out of my spaces with people. And that's why these four things popped up about what I'm going to talk about. But at this moment, these are like heavy topics. And I don't want to talk about that all the time. I don't want to talk about racism. I don't want to talk about colorism. I don't want to talk about anti-blackness, because I feel like those are trauma loops that keep highly melanated people, especially highly melanated women, from enjoying our life. I want to enjoy my life. I want to talk about farming. I want to talk about planting. I want to talk about these things that push me in spaces of expressing my femininity. And no, I do not want to be around any human, more specifically a human who has a vagina, who wants to utilize my existence as a way to justify their existence, right? And then also utilizing the human who has a penis to measure their femininity all the time. It is good to have that, to be in compassion and what's the word? Not compassion, y'all. What's the word? Companionship, right? But I want companionship on my terms, not on the terms of what people dictate what I am deserving of. And that is not just a dig at highly melanated women. It is a dig at all women. Internalized misogyny is a disease within our society. And we really, really need to rectify that. We really need to engage with that conversation, because I was watching the great Nigerian author, and I don't want to say her name incorrectly, but it's like I'm not gonna butcher her name, but she's a real prevalent Nigerian author, and she was talking about we all should be feminists, right? And I was thinking that she was explaining how feminists have had this bad rep of, being unhappy, we hate men, and I think that is like that is a ideology that was created by humans who hate women, period. Because the more I explore feminism is the more I love humans. The more I am more compassionate towards men, and understanding their socialization handicaps them from evolution and standing in a space of creativity and innovation outside of being someone's villain. And that they can only find solitude in a space of exploring their femininity is with other men who might harm them. So it keeps them in spaces of harm. That's what feminism does for me. Feminism also empowers me as a human being to not handicap myself in the space of someone else's projection of who I am, giving them my power. Because I am powerful. Every human being is powerful. But when we're talking about the feminine energy and your ability to create, you are powerful. So I want, soft, cuddly things. I want boring family relationships. And when I say boring family relationships, yes, I want to go hiking and camping with my family. I want to love on my family in that way. And when we do things like that, I don't want that to be, oh, that's not black. The fuck does that mean? If you keep projecting to me this identity of blackness, then you are the person of harm. And I will say this, because I'm just going to keep it at 20 minutes, and then we're like 15 minutes and 27 seconds. Okay. Single women, single women, single women, single women. I'm going to say this to you, okay? You owe no one anything, right? And to those who have been blessed with children, us in our singlehood owe you nothing, right? I understand you do not want your shadows to be on your children, but that does not mean that single women are your play toys or your victims. Nor will we be punished for not engaging in spaces of just being in companionship with people who really don't like us. I think that's what we need to learn about self-identification, owning your self-identification. That some people just really don't like you, and that's okay. Like, dude, we need to be comprehensive that if someone or a group of people or a selection of people don't like you, it's like, well, you're the problem. No, these people just don't fucking like me. It's okay. Don't let people guilt trip you into being in spaces of harm so that they can continuously abuse you simply because they state that you're the problem because they don't like you. There might be multiple factors of why someone doesn't like you. And at the end of the day, can I be, come here, 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 come on in. Who gives a fuck? Why are we concerned about ourselves about people who don't like you? When it comes up to family and friends and you got to understand when people are trying to put you in the space to put you in the trauma loop, to put you in a place where they can be powerful over you. Sometimes some people use their dislikeness of you to control you. All right? So in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, I just got to say, when highly melanated people were being projected with toxic hyper-criminalization, because we went from a space of enslavement physically to someone trying to enslave us mentally. That's what drugs do, baby. Okay? That's what they do. It will be people who come around you, a group of people, I just don't like her. Okay. But there are going to be people who try to move in harm to tell you they just don't like you. You can like me all you want. Don't move to harm me. Why is that so hard for you to comprehend? It's very hard for people to comprehend that. And that's why you have to own your self-identification. Don't stay angry, baby. You are beautiful. You're not enslaved to anyone. You are free. And when you awaken to who you are and you're reaching in your head, understand that there has been people who have done this way before you, who have been doing it, right? And that some people that could look like you get off on hurting you because that's how their brain works. And that's the only way that they ever got attention. Okay? So be who you are. If you are soft and cuddly and sometimes you're mean and sometimes it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You owe no one anything. Okay? So as we're wrapping it up in the self-identification, what I want you to take away from this is, as we move into a space where, people are going to try to project harm because we're going into more of a Republican government, that only be in community with people who provide you with safety and security. If they're going to continuously move to harm you, be down on you, or say project to you that something is wrong with you, just detach. And if you can't detach, keep to yourself. Don't alienate yourself. Fuck that. Fuck that. Just observe, not absorb. Okay? Don't alienate yourself. You're too. Everybody. I think everybody has a beautiful spirit. I've always been like that, and I'm going to continue to be like that. You don't have to refrain from saying or doing anything you want. Okay? You don't. And when you get into the spaces of understanding what it is, I'm just really happy because I really want us to understand that self-identification is your superpower. Self-rule and authority is your superpower. Self-determination is your superpower. And I know many people have come into our spaces now that in our 30s that, this is life and it's hard. Life doesn't have to be hard, baby. People will come to make your life hard. And you just detach with love. Okay? All right, so this was conversation starters. The conversation starters that I would like to engage with. They're heavy topics. One about, maybe us tapping into a space of learning how to farm together, utilizing tools. Maybe we could create a club for single women, and we kind of have our conversations and what we want to engage with. These are the happy stuff that I want to do. Of course, we have Meditation Monday. Every Monday at 7 p.m. I'm hosting classes. They're only $10. I'm going to show you about central movement, sacral central movement, taking and honing on your womb energy and utilizing it to empower yourself and empower who you are as a human, whether you be male or female. It's a little bit of yoga, a little bit of meditation, mostly dancing sensually, getting your body out, oozing your sexuality into a space of safety and owning yourself. Okay. What else? We have Wellness Wednesday. If you want me to open up classes for that, I will be doing that as well. We're open to that. And then so those 4 topics I'll go over because I just want to stay in a happy space. We just want to be happy right now, right? Let's just stay in a happy space. Those 4 components is why I will be staying in. We are good to go. I don't know why I was feeling some energy, so let's just whoop, 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 whoop. Door it up. Oh, yeah. Hi. Okay? Do not allow internalized misogyny, anti-blackness, and colorism to take you off your grid, baby. Fuck that. You're a beautiful human being. Whether you be less melanated, highly melanated, in the between, let's move forward. Let's evolve. Let's go into beautiful spaces. Okay, Oya Myra, I'm back. I'm open for conversation starters. This will be on YouTube in a second. Give it about a day. And then Meditation Monday, 30-minute, 10 to 15-minute segments of stretching will be available to show you a little bit how sensual classes go. If you have any questions, go to RVPP Solutions, IG, Facebook. We're here for you. This was a wonderful conversation. I love y'all dearly. Please tune in every Sunday for Conversation Starters with Oya Myra. Have a wonderful day. Ashe.